Hey, welcome to Graphic Policy Television, GPTV. It's Wednesday, which means it's brand new comic book day. New comics are hitting the shelves all across the world. You can get them digitally, you can get them physically, you can get them any way you want. It's new comic book day. In my hands is the latest release from Jinx World. It's Scarlett Number One from Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Maleev. So also it has letters from Joshua Reed. It's designed by Chris King Jr. If you have not read the previous volume of Scarlet, basically it is about a young woman named Scarlet. She is revolutionary, rises up against corrupt cops, corrupt politicians, basically leads a revolution. The first volume of it is, I think, absolutely fantastic. Definitely must read. It was one of my favorite comics of the time. I thought Brian Michael Bendis was doing a fantastic job. It came out during the Occupy movement, so to be able to see I would kind of say like a more militant take on what was going on at that point in time. It was kind of awesome. It was actually really interesting. It's up there, I think, like DMZ was a series that I thought was very similar in that sense. Great sensibilities about revolution and politics, and mixing it all together as some entertainment. It's been years since we've gotten some Scarlet, and it's back in a brand new volume in this first issue, which is actually a solid starting point for those who might have not read the first volume at all. And basically, like, Scarlet is now a true revolutionary. The United States government is going after her. She's kind of holed up in Portland, which is kind of a no man's land. And the U.S. government is attacking her. Basically, this is the next evolution of the series. It's gone from demonstrations and taking care of corrupt cops and talking about corrupt politicians to really revolting against a system not built for the average person and a system that is built on compliance. It's kind of interesting considering comic history has its own issues with themes that are kind of touched throughout the comic. There's something a little meta to it, and as a whole, like, this is it's a good comic. It's really interesting to see in today's world. We flash forward quite a few years now, with a different president and different political situation, how the series reads at this point. It's still what I'd lean towards the left spectrum of things. But you can easily see some right-wing disenchantment throughout the comic as well, at least in that whole revolutionary part and rising up a government that you think is belittling you. That said, like, it's an entertaining comic. It's a first issue, but it's first issue of a new volume. It does a really good job of introducing new readers to the world, to the characters, and what to expect. There's just enough to make things really interesting and get me to come back more. This is the second release from Jinx World. The first one, Pearl Number One, didn't quite have the excitement and kick that I was interested in. Scarlet amps things up a little bit more. But again, I've read the first volume of that, so I know this is a bit more of a thinker's comic, and that the build-up will eventually lead to something. So it's the slow simmer before the explosion, and that's what this comic really feels like. It's good. Like, it's really interesting. I mean, if you dig a little socio-political stuff in your comic, you're gonna like it. If you just like the concept of revolution against the corrupt U.S. government, you might like that as well. Where Bendis takes us from here, I have no idea. It's going to be very fascinating to see maybe what issues he touches upon. We are in the age of, like, Me Too and Black Lives Matter, and to see if any of that is brought up during this, I think will be really fascinating. The first issue was really, I think, perfectly timed for Occupy. Black Lives Matter wasn't a thing at that point in time, I don't believe. It's been quite a while. I believe it was more of like a militant Occupy thing going on. So we'll see how it reflects the real world. I think it's going to be really interesting. I like the first issue. If this is a perfect starting point for someone who wants to hop into the series. Again, if you like the series like DMZ, you're going to dig this. It really reminds me of DMZ a lot. I could see this perfectly being a sister story on the other coast to that series. The art is absolutely fantastic. It's Alex Maleev, so, like, what a shock with that. we'll skip that. We don't want to give that away as far as spoiler. I mean, you can see the art. It's really solid detail. There's some great to it. This is, I think, a comic where, I mean, there's really cool stuff like that. This is a comic where I think the details tells as much of the situation as Scarlet, who really spends most of the comic talking to you, the reader, to catch you up with everything. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I wouldn't say I loved it like I did with Scarlett Number One, the previous volume, but I really like it. I think it's a great continuation. I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes from here. So to me, this is definitely a buy for me. Like, this would be a comic I would purchase normally, and not too shocking based off of the content and you know, me enjoying the previous volume. So Pearl Number One was a bit of a dud for me from Jinx World. This, I think, helps things a little bit in the right direction, definitely on an upward swing. You can go get this in comic shops today. We've got a nice link beneath this video. Put in your zip code. It'll tell you if a shop's near you. No shop, no problem. We got some affiliate links. There are affiliate links, so we get a small percentage of that. I want to thank DC for hooking us up with this review copy. We always like to be transparent when we get something for free. And thank you for watching. We always appreciate you checking out our videos. Now, if you're into Scarlet, if you're into Brian Michael Bendis, Jinx World, Alex Maleev, comics in general, DC, check us out every single day at graphicpolicy.com. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr, all at Graphic Policy, keeping it nice and consistent. Until next time, get ready for the revolution. Keep reading those comics, and keep it geeky. Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.